What is the Decepticon symbol actually a picture of? Let's find out. The brand. The Decepticon symbol has been on toys, t-shirts, cartoons, and tattoos since 1984. And in all that time, nobody asked what it was actually a drawing of. This film answered it. Early in the movie, Orion gives D-16 a gift. A first edition, mint condition Megatronus Prime decal. It looks like character flavor, a sticker. Easy to miss. Then Sentinel sees it, picks up a hot mining tool, and carves Megatronus's face into D-16's chest. The camera holds on the shape as it burns in. You don't recognize it yet. The film is patient. Post-credits. Megatron stands over Starscream, brands him with the same shape. Brands Soundwave. Brands himself. Pull back wide. It's the Decepticon insignia. The logo that has defined evil in this franchise for 40 years is the face of a fallen Prime, burned into flesh by the villain who idolized him. But here's where it gets weird. In 1984, the original Decepticon logo was designed by artist Wayne Molinaire. He based it on G1 Soundwave's face. The Autobot logo was based on Prowl's. It was studio trivia. Fan forum lore? Nobody had ever made it canon. Until this film. Cooley took that real-world fact and built the entire third act around it. The logo was always a face. The film just had the patience to show you who's the voice. When Steve Buscemi was cast as Starscream, every fan expected one thing. The iconic screech, the Chris Latta whine from 1984, the voice that defined cartoon villainy for an entire generation. Buscemi didn't deliver it. For the entire first half of the film, Starscream sounds calm, cocky, smooth, almost charming. Nothing like the cartoon. Fans on opening weekend thought it was a casting miss. Then D-16 fights him, beats him, and crushes his voice box on screen. Watch what happens next. Every line Starscream speaks after that scene shifts. The pitch climbs, the voice cracks. By his next major appearance, he sounds exactly like Chris Latta's 1984 performance. The same scratchy, broken, high-pitched whine cartoon viewers grew up with. Buscemi is doing two completely different performances in one film. And the transition is a wound. For 40 years, the question of why Starscream sounded like that had one answer. Because that's how he sounds. This film gave the most distinctive villain voice in animation history a permanent on-screen injury as its origin story. And it's worse than that, actually. The being who broke Starscream's voice is D-16. The being who, by the end of the film, is broken into Megatron. The first Decepticon ruined the second Decepticon before either of them had names. Their relationship was already a wound before the war started. The canon. Two objects define G1 Megatron in the memory of every Transformers fan. The fusion cannon on his right arm, and the silhouette of his head. This film engineered the birth of both. During his fight with Starscream, D-16 manifests his fusion cannon for the first time. One barrel, single shot, crude. Improvised? Later in the film, he installs Megatronus Prime's cog. The cannon expands. 3 barrels, side by side. That exact configuration comes from G1 Megatron's 1984 Walther P-38 toy. The most iconic weapon in the franchise wasn't slapped on. It was earned. One upgrade at a time. Now watch D-16's head across the film. Early on, the top of his skull reads almost like hair. Soft, exposed. By the third act, it's a closed warrior's helm. The plates flanking his mouth migrate inward. His face physically narrows. The animators are showing you a face closing. And then the score. When Orion falls to Cybertron's core and is reborn as Optimus Prime, composer Brian Tyler does something almost no reboot has the courage to do. He interpolates the motif from Death of Optimus Prime. The 1986 cue that played when the original Optimus died saving Hot Rod. Same theme, different key. The grief score for a dead Prime is what announces the new one. But the strangest detail in the final fight has nothing to do with cannons or scores. Watch Megatron's face after the battle ends. Mech fluid streaks under his eyes. Like tears. That exact streak pattern matches Megatron's face after his final fight in the 1986 movie. Production designer Jason Schreier confirmed it. The grief of the old villain became the literal face of the new one. The race. The Iacon 5000 is the loudest sequence in the film. Loud sound, loud color, loud crowd. Most viewers watched the foreground the entire time. The film hid more in the background of this scene than in any other. Start with the leaderboard. It flashes on screen for under 3 seconds across the whole race. Frame by frame, it lists over 30 G1 characters as competing racers. Mirage, Powerglide, Cliffjumper, Motormaster, Inferno, Blur, Hot Rod, Windblade, each one colored and proportioned like their G1 counterpart. Full recreations of 40 years of toys, slotted in as background extras. And it goes deeper. The same leaderboard includes Blowout, Double Clutch, Mean Streak, and Stacks. Characters from the 1992 Generation 2 toy line that even longtime fans forgot existed. Jolt and Leadfoot show up too, from the Bay films. This wasn't nostalgia bait, it was a complete historical accounting of every Transformer who ever raced. Now listen to the announcer. As Orion and D-16 approach the finish line, he says, "The most amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of." Chromia cuts him off. That sentence is a near-verbatim quote of Joe Starkey's 1982 radio call of the play, Cal versus Stanford. The marching band on the field, the lateral that broke a generation. A Cybertronian race used a real-world Berkeley radio broadcast as its dialogue. But the most interesting detail in the race isn't on the leaderboard, it's the swap. Mirage's name appears on the board more times than Chromia's. Hasbro released an Iacon 5000 toy 3-pack featuring Mirage with Orion and D-16. Production designer Jason Schreier later confirmed that the racer Chromia is the canonical one, which means Mirage was the planned winner. They swapped him out in late production. The film you saw is not the film they shot. The Miners. Every blockbuster reboot in the last decade stuffs old characters into the background as fan service. Quick cameo, recognizable color scheme, name on a poster, done. This film did something different. It made the cameos load-bearing. Start with the cave-in. Early in the film, an accident traps a group of miners underground. Orion fights through the rubble and saves one of them. Look at that miner closely. Same color scheme as Jazz, same proportions, same head shape. That's not a coincidence. The miner Orion saves is Jazz, and he shows up later in the film to back Orion during the rally against Sentinel. The film quietly established why Jazz becomes Optimus Prime's most loyal lieutenant in every continuity, because in this one, Optimus saved his life on day one. The miner who triggered the cave-in the first place is also a familiar face. He hits unstable Energon and the whole tunnel collapses. That miner is Wheeljack. In G1, Wheeljack's defining trait across every continuity is that his inventions explode. The film's first major crisis is Wheeljack accidentally blowing something up. His personality predated his profession, and watch Arcee across the film. As a miner, her face is exposed. Plain, unremarkable. The moment the miners receive cogs in the third act, her design upgrades on screen. A pink visor materializes over her eyes. The exact pink visor she wears in the 1986 movie. Her costume changes disguised as a power-up, but the most interesting miner cameo never says a word. Look closely at the crowd shots and you'll find a miner with the exact Ratchet color palette. Black crest, red pelvis, red shoulder pips. A medical PA system even pages Dr. Ratchet after the race. The most famous medic in the franchise was set up, named, and saved for later. For a sequel that, given the box office, may never come. The transformation is the franchise. The word is literally in the title. Every Transformers product made in the last 40 years rests on the same premise. These characters convert from one form to another. Every named character in this film does it, constantly, except one. Watch Sentinel Prime across the entire 104-minute runtime. He never transforms. Not in combat, not in transit, not under stress, not even once. Every other major character converts to vehicle mode multiple times. Sentinel stays bipedal the whole film. The animation team coded the entire moral architecture into a single design choice. Transformers transform. He doesn't. He's stuck, frozen. The opposite of what his species is supposed to be, and his weapon tells you why. Sentinel's double-edged sword is the same blade that killed Nexus Prime, beheaded Megatronus Prime, and executed Solus Prime and Zeta Prime. One weapon, 4 murders, an entire bloodline of original Primes ended by a single sword. The character who claims to be the last Prime achieved that title by killing every other one. Now listen to the history recordings in the archive. The narration sounds exactly like Alpha Trion. The cadence, the wisdom, the weight. But the recording describes events that happened after Alpha Trion was already offline. The leading theory, supported by the timeline, is that Sentinel synthesized Alpha Trion's voice to record his own propaganda. The voice that taught an entire generation of Cybertron its history was the voice that erased it. And then about 40 minutes in, Orion turns to D-16 and says one line. It's time to show that we are more than meets the eye. The exact 9 words that have opened every Transformers product since 1984. Every toy box, every theme song, every trailer, every cartoon intro, 40 years of marketing copy. Orion says them as a sentence, not as a slogan. The film took the most overused line in the franchise and made a worker say it like a thesis, like it was his idea. Most Easter eggs reward attention. This film rewarded patience. Which detail broke your brain? Drop it in the comments.